Welcome back my YouTube channel Mystery Coins TV, and unbelievable values come together in the most mysterious ways. Today's story sounds almost impossible. This coin 1969, South Africa 1 center coin, a coin many people ignored for decades, is now connected to a shocking value rumored to reach $4 million. Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent. $4 million. But here's the real mystery. What makes this little copper coin so valuable? Was it a minting mistake? A hidden historical treasure? Or is there something collectors know that ordinary people still don't? Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you'll discover the secret history behind the 1969 South African center, the rare features collectors desperately search for, and why one tiny detail could completely change its value forever. And trust me, the final reveal is something most coin owners never notice. So, welcome to Mystery Coins TV. Let's begin. The South African 1 cent coin of 1969 was introduced during a fascinating period in the country's monetary history. At the time, South Africa had recently shifted to a decimal currency system, replacing the old pounds and shilling structure. The new cent coins became symbols of modernization, and millions were produced for everyday use. At first glance, the 1969 1 cent looks ordinary. It's small, copper-colored, and simple in design. One side features the denomination 1C, while the reverse carries the image associated with South Africa's national identity during that era. Nothing unusual, or so it seemed. But decades later, collectors began noticing something strange. A few surviving examples showed rare mint characteristics that separated them from common circulation coins. Tiny variations in strike quality, unusual metal composition, and extremely limited production batches turned certain 1969 cents into collector legends. And here's where the mystery deepens. Some experts believe a handful of experimental or proof quality coins may have accidentally entered public circulation. These coins were never meant to be used in everyday transactions. If discovered today in pristine condition, their rarity could push values into astonishing territory. But before we reveal the most important detail, there's another twist you need to hear. Not every 1969 South Africa center is valuable. In fact, most are worth only a small amount. So why do some collectors pay enormous prices for certain versions? The answer lies in 3 key factors. Collectors look for coins with almost no wear, sharp lettering, and original surface shine. A coin graded in near perfect mint state becomes dramatically more valuable than an ordinary circulated piece. Second, rarity. Some batches had much lower survival numbers than others. Over the years, many coins were damaged, melted, or lost forever. That means high-quality surviving examples became increasingly difficult to find. And third, errors and unique mint marks. Now this is where things get truly exciting. Some rare 1969 South African cents reportedly display unusual striking anomalies, including off-center strikes, doubled lettering, or rare die variations. These minting errors transform a simple coin into a one-of-a-kind collectible. And collectors absolutely love one-of-one mysteries. But wait, because the biggest surprise is still ahead. There are rumors in the numismatic world that an ultra-rare specimen connected to special mint production reached an estimated valuation close to $4 million in private collector discussions. While public auction confirmations remain extremely limited, the story alone has fueled worldwide interest in the coin. Imagine checking an old coin jar and discovering a treasure hidden in plain sight for over 50 years. It sounds unbelievable, but history has shown it can happen. Coins once dismissed as pocket change have later sold for life-changing amounts because someone noticed a tiny detail others ignored. That's why experienced collectors always inspect old coins carefully. Sometimes the smallest difference creates the biggest value. So, how can you identify a potentially valuable 1969 South Africa 1 center coin? Start by examining the date closely. Look for unusual lettering, striking errors, or sharp details that appear different from normal examples. Check the coin's surface for original luster and signs it may never have heavily circulated. If you believe you found something unusual, professional grading services can authenticate and evaluate the coin properly. A certified rare variety can attract serious collector attention worldwide. And here's the lesson hidden inside today's mystery. Value is not always obvious. Sometimes history hides inside the smallest objects. A forgotten coin, an overlooked detail, a tiny piece of copper sitting quietly in a drawer for decades, could carry a story worth millions. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. Every coin holds a mystery waiting to be discovered. And now we want to hear from you. Have you ever found an old South African coin in your collection? Do you think rare coins like this could still be hiding in circulation today? Leave your answer in the comments below. If you enjoyed this mysterious coin story, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Mystery Coins TV, and turn on notifications so you never miss another hidden treasure story from around the world. This coin 1965, South Africa 2-cent coin. Now at first glance, this tiny bronze coin may not look special. In fact, millions of people may have carried one in their pockets decades ago, without thinking twice. But what if I told you that one version of this coin has been connected to rumors of values reaching an astonishing $9 million? Sounds impossible, right? Well, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll discover the surprising history behind this South African coin, the rare details collectors hunt for, and the truth about why some people believe this tiny piece of metal could change someone's life forever. And trust me, one hidden detail makes all the difference. Back in 1965, South Africa was going through an important economic era. The country had recently adopted the decimal currency system in 1961, replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence with rand and cents. That meant new coins were being produced for everyday circulation, including the humble 2-cent coin. The 1965 2-cent was struck mainly in bronze and featured a simple but elegant design. On one side, you'd find the South African coat of arms along with the year 1965. On the other side, the denomination 2 cents appeared with beautiful styling that reflected the country's identity during that period. At the time, nobody imagined this small coin would one day become the center of mystery and speculation. But here's where things become truly interesting. Not every 1965 2-cent coin is valuable. In fact, most are only worth a few cents today. However, collectors began noticing that certain rare examples had unusual characteristics. Some reportedly showed minting errors, strange metal compositions, or incredibly limited production details that made them stand out from ordinary circulation coins. And one specific rumor changed everything. According to stories passed through collector communities, an extremely rare variation of the 1965 South Africa 2-center may have been accidentally struck under experimental conditions. Some believe only a handful were ever produced before the mistake was discovered. That's the version tied to the jaw-dropping $9 million legend. Now before you rush to check every old coin jar in your house, there's something important you need to know. Most experts agree that no publicly verified sale of a 1965 South Africa 2-center has officially reached $9 million. However, in the world of rare coins, values can explode when rarity, historical significance, condition, and collector demand collide. And that's exactly why these coins continue attracting attention worldwide. Here's the first key detail collectors look for: mint errors. A mint error can happen during production when the coin is struck incorrectly. This might include double stamping, off-center designs, missing details, or wrong metal planchets. Even tiny mistakes can dramatically increase a coin's value. Imagine holding a coin that was never supposed to exist. That possibility alone fuels excitement in the collector market. But wait, because the second clue is even more fascinating. Condition matters more than almost anything else. A regular 1965 2-cent coin in worn condition might be nearly worthless. But if a rare version survives an uncirculated or mint state condition, its value could rise dramatically. Collectors pay huge amounts for coins that still retain sharp details, original color, and almost no scratches. And here's the mini teaser you don't want to miss. Some collectors believe a few untouched examples may still be hidden in private collections, forgotten drawers, or inherited boxes of old currency. Which means someone, somewhere, could unknowingly own a fortune. Now let's talk about the historical significance behind this coin, because that's another reason it fascinates collectors. The 1960s marked a period of major transformation in South Africa's economy and identity. Coins from this era became symbols of a changing nation. As years passed, many coins disappeared from circulation, were damaged, or melted down. making surviving high-quality examples increasingly difficult to find. That scarcity created demand, and demand creates legends. Over time, stories online began exaggerating the coin's value, with headlines claiming unbelievable prices. Some reports mixed verified auction results with rumors, creating the myth of the $9 million 2-cent coin. But even if the number itself remains unconfirmed, one thing is absolutely true. Rare coins and historic South African pieces can still sell for thousands, sometimes even far more, depending on their uniqueness and condition. So the real treasure may not just be the money. It's the mystery. It's the thrill of discovery. It's the idea that an ordinary-looking coin could carry extraordinary history. And that's exactly why coin collecting continues to capture imaginations across generations. Before you leave, take a close look at any old South African coins you may have tucked away. Check the date. Look for unusual markings. Examine the edges and design carefully. Because in the world of rare coins, tiny details can lead to massive surprises. And who knows? The next incredible discovery might already be sitting in someone's pocket right now. Thanks for watching Mystery Coins TV. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more hidden coin treasures, rare collectibles, and unbelievable value discoveries from around the world. This coin 1968 1-cent swart coin. This particular coin may seem like just a regular piece of copper to the untrained eye, but for coin collectors and historians, it represents a story layered in history, politics, rarity, and hidden value. As we journey through its backstory, you'll see why collectors around the world are clamoring for this seemingly modest coin. South Africa's 1-cent coins were minted during a complex period in the country's history. In 1968, the country was in the midst of apartheid, a deeply divisive era that also saw the country isolate itself from many international communities. Coinage from this time often carried subtle symbols and meanings that reflected the social and political context of the day. The 1968 1-cent coin features the familiar portrait of Jan van Riebeeck on the obverse side, a Dutch colonial administrator considered one of the founders of Cape Town. This portrait was standard on many South African coins during this period, symbolizing European influence on the region. However, the version of the coin we are exploring today, the so-called swart coin, has an unusual twist. In Afrikaans, swart translates to black, and it is believed this coin got its nickname due to either a minting variation or a controversial connection to political symbolism. The exact origin of the term swart in this context remains a topic of debate among experts. Some numismatists argue that the swart variant has a slightly different composition or shade due to either an experimental planchet or a limited test run. Others believe it may have been the result of oxidation or a chemical reaction in certain batches of coins that were not widely circulated. Regardless, the term swart has stuck with this specific variety. What makes this coin even more mysterious is that only a handful of these swart coins have been verified. While millions of 1-cent coins were minted in 1968, the swart variant appears in incredibly low numbers, making it one of the rarest coins of South African numismatic history. Some collectors claim fewer than 10 authentic examples have been documented globally. Adding to the rarity, there are certain distinguishing markers on these coins that experts look for. These may include slight differences in coloration, strike depth, edge finishing, and weight. It takes a trained eye, and sometimes lab equipment, to confirm the authenticity of a true 1968 swart 1-cent coin. This extreme scarcity has created a massive surge in interest over the years. As more coin enthusiasts and investors search for hidden gems in their collections, the 1968 swart coin continues to rise in both fame and value. Some were found in old family collections, tucked away for decades without their owners realizing what they had. Now let's talk about value. A verified, authentic 1968 swart South Africa 1-cent coin has fetched astronomical figures at private auctions and numismatic expos. Most recently, one specimen in pristine, uncirculated condition was valued at over $2 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin once worth just a single cent has become a multi-million-dollar treasure. This price isn't just hype. It's the result of true rarity, historical context, and the growing global interest in rare coin collecting. The value could continue to increase as more collectors and institutions compete to obtain one of the few remaining pieces in existence. How can you tell if you might have one? If you're lucky enough to come across a 1968 South African 1-center coin, it's worth having it professionally evaluated. Look for unusual toning, slightly darker coloration, and any irregularities in texture or edge. But remember, even slight differences must be verified by an expert for the coin to be considered part of the rare swart batch. For those looking to invest in rare coins, this coin 1 cent 1968 swart South Africa coin history.